Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on the Lane. Just give me 1 second. Let me give me a little intermission. Yeah, so a little booger was in my nose. I had to blow it out. So, I was talking to somebody yesterday that struggles with alcoholism, and I was like, well, we understand that he and I understand that the alcohol is something covering something else. And he said, yeah, I'm battling my demons, which is, what the young kids say nowadays, But I know a few guys. I mean, I could count probably 5 guys that, I'll probably talk to them on the regular that abuse alcohol, abuse themselves with alcohol. Oh, shoot. Almost had an accident. These guys not even slowing down. Like they're going to kill me, man. What's going on? Oh, my gosh. It's very egocentric, this whole driving experience. You got to be careful. You know what? I shouldn't have never took that risk. But anyhow, we survived, right? Those people were coming at 40 miles per hour, not stopping. They see me in the intersection. Anyway, maybe I would have done the same. It's like jousting. It's like, So, and he was asking me about anyhow, the conversation we were having was about finances. And I said, well, it wouldn't be a good financial decision for someone to lend you money because you're not putting yourself first. You know what I mean? You're not putting your best interests at heart. How are you going to put their assets? You know what I mean? Prioritize their assets. And anyhow, I don't remember exactly what I was thinking about this morning, but the statement in the Bible where God says, "Who told you were naked?" comes to mind. Who told you were naked, right? Now I'm gonna stretch it just like any pastor or priest would do. They're gonna stretch it and twist it around and interpret it the way that they want to interpret it and whatever. So to prove a point and whatever they're gonna say, right? So I'm gonna interpret, who told you were naked? Who told you were naked? Is he honking me? He doesn't even have his indicator on. Okay. I'm gonna interpret, who told you were naked, as, who told you I wasn't with you? Who told you that I'm not covering you? Like, I got you covered, man. I got you. Somebody told you I don't got you. I don't got you covered. I'm not supplying everything for you. Feelings of inadequacy and feelings of lack is something that I struggle with. The pastor at the church, one of them was saying he struggled with feeling inadequate and not enough and not good enough. The head pastor, he came in the next week after that. It seemed like he had watched the other pastor say that and said, didn't Pastor so-and-so do a good job last week? Or something like that. I think he's trying to train him and give him the opportunity to shine and prove that, yeah, you're good. You know what I'm saying? So he came the next week. I was like, didn't Pastor so-and-so do a good job? So he's encouraging him. He over, the pastor from the previous week, he acknowledges that he feels feelings of inadequacy. He'll tell you he grew up with no father. I'm saying a lot of stuff, but recently my son was at school. One of his classmates, who is a troublemaker, said to his, my son's friend, "That's why you don't have no father." And my son's friend and the classmate that makes trouble, that said that offensive comment, got into a fight, started throwing chairs, and the kid who the statement was made to ended up having a bloody nose and not coming to school for a few days, probably nursing his wounds. You know, feelings of lack, feelings of inadequacy is a big problem, and it's the source of, in my opinion, consumerism. And let's not even talk about the chemical basis of it, where we're seeking dopamine. I mean, that's a chemical lack. That's a chemical. We want more chemical. We want more dopamine. We want more dopamine, right? But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the social lack, social value, social appraisal. Your self-value, you gotta appraise yourself highly, not to be I don't know, put yourself above other people and make other people feel bad or nothing like that. But you gotta value yourself so that someone can't say to you, hey, well, you're not a real man if you don't X. You're not a real man if you don't this. You're not a real woman if you don't do that. People not gonna love you if you don't do this. People not gonna like you if you are like this. I mean, if you're not doing anything wrong, you're not doing anything illegal, you're not doing anything harmful, you know, you're not being antisocial regarding, like sociopathic, I should say, in a dangerous kind of way, harmful kind of way, disunity, activity. I don't really know what the word to use. If you're not creating disorder, I mean, we're all creating entropy just by existing, but if you're not just, over here causing division and disruption and all these things, disruption of good things, disruption of unity, disruption of community, then, not hurting anybody, then they people ostracizing you or whatever shouldn't devalue you. Like I was making a long post, but I don't know if I'm gonna upload it or not. But I think about the guys at Columbine, or the guys at the Newtown, or the guys at Sandy Hook. All of these mass deleters felt inadequacy. They felt like outsiders. They felt ostracized. They didn't feel socially accepted. They felt naked. They feel like nobody was valuing them. As a result, that made them upset, made them go attack other people and hurt innocent people. Right? So these feelings of lack cause a lot of problems. And it can cause even addiction and all these things. You don't feel filled. You don't feel accepted. You want to lash out. I think I saw online there's an African proverb that says something like, the child that's not accepted by the village will burn it to keep warm, or something like that, right? So it causes a lot of destructive behavior, and you kind of understand why these rappers promote self-destruction in the community for their own warmth, for their own gain, for their own social upliftment, their own social and financial upliftment. They'll sell you a dream and promote violence, crime, misogyny, addiction, self-masochistic behavior, like a whole bunch of tattoos all over your whole body. I mean, that's offensive, right? I'm sorry. I mean, don't tattoos hurt? Like, or maybe I'm just a punk. That's just offended somebody. That just offended somebody. And that's kind of antisocial, right? That's antisocial. So I apologize. But is it a legit question though? You know, it hurts, right? But the picture that you're putting on your body is more important than the pain. Yeah, you know what? I realize that I'm romantic regarding certain things. Other people are romantic regarding certain things. You know, so someone will romanticize their tattoos and say, well, it means this to me, it means that to me, it means this to me. Okay. So I gotta respect it, because in their value system and how they self-value, that's the reality. I was in the barbershop the other day, and I was saying to one of the barbers, he's like a little joker. I was saying, you know, we all subscribe to a myth, or I didn't maybe use the word myth. I said something like fairy tale. I said the word fairy tale, which is like the same thing. I said, I subscribe to a fairy tale. You subscribe to a fairy tale. We all subscribe to a fairy tale, you know, in order to exist. And that's the fairy tale. And we live by different fairy tales, whether it's religion, social constructs, so on and so on and so forth. So I don't want to offend anybody. We all live in different fairy tales. I live in a different fairy tale than other people. I live in the same fairy tale as some people. I'm just sharing my little fairy tale and whatever. I'm having some. I'm getting the dopamine release recording this. Anyhow, who told you were naked, right? The person that told you that you were naked were trying to set you up to get you to do something. The person that told you that you weren't a man was trying to set you up to get a reaction out of you. The person who told you you wasn't a woman, you wasn't good enough, you wasn't attractive enough, you weren't smart enough, they're trying to get a reaction out of you. The other day, you know, I'm always talking about working on cars. I was working on the car. I had a code for P0420, P0171. And those were related to the catalytic converter. And I fixed the P0171 by changing the fuel injectors. Still had the P0420 code. I had changed the mass and airflow sensors. Okay, that didn't fix it. So eventually I put a spacer on the rear O2 section, the downstream O2 sensor. But before I did that, I had taken my car to get inspected, and the mechanic, who I've known for years, said, oh, you're never gonna fix that code. You're never gonna fix that code. Just let me fix it for you. Let me fix it for you. You're never gonna fix that code. I said, all right, you don't have any faith in my wrenching skills. So him telling me that, I mean, he's a funny guy, you know, he didn't really mean nothing about it. But him saying that got a reaction out of me where I was like, okay, I'm going to show you. Now, I shouldn't have felt inadequate. I didn't feel inadequate when he said that. I knew that he was doing a multitude of things. He was trying to help me, in a sense. He was trying to help himself financially. But he was also just joking around with me because he knows I like to wrench, and you know, I think he's just also interested in seeing, you know, yeah, let me see what you can do, you know, in a sense. But primarily he's looking out for his own financial interests. Secondarily, he was trying to help me just get it done, you know. But it inspired a reaction in me where I started going actively into solving the problem and fixing it. And I fixed it. You know, sometimes I'm overtly aware of me feeling inadequate when someone says something to me. And it can, depending upon someone's level of self-regulation, they can get really offended. They can say, and I had for entertainment purposes, I had a response to him of someone who was really offended. I said, man, you don't have any confidence in my skills. You don't have any confidence in my skills. I responded to him, right? But we just both, kind of chuckled about it. And then when I finally got everything fixed and passed the inspection, I said, I told you, you didn't have faith in me. So, but I had faith in myself the whole time. I was covered. I wasn't naked. He tried to say that I was naked. He tried to say that I couldn't do it. Now, certain things you can't do, some things whatever. It might be like you're wasting your time. You're being inefficient. You're spinning your wheels or whatever the case may be. But in certain instances in life, when you're talking about feelings of inadequacy, those are social. Those are not even really sometimes material. I mean, social. Your social rank, your social hierarchy, your social value can translate to money. They've already done research saying more attractive people get more jobs, are more likely to get a job, right? So materially, in some cases, it can benefit you to have a social rank that's validated externally. But you're going to have a big problem. You're probably going to have you're going to have a huge problem. I'm not saying the worst problem, because I'm not going to use hyperbole. I'm just going to say you're going to have a big problem if you lowly appraise yourself. If you lowly appraise yourself and you end up falling into the devil's trap of believing that you're naked, you're inadequate, you're not valuable. Anyhow, the gentleman that I was talking to that struggles with alcohol, I was talking to yesterday, recently he was so inebriated he fell and broke his thumb, and his thumb almost got severed. His thumb almost got severed, right? I've and what I said to him when I was talking, I said, I'm no better than you. That wasn't me, just blowing smoke. And that wasn't me just trying to placate him. And that wasn't me trying to be hyperbole or facetious or whatever the case may be. I am no better than him. I want him to know that he has value. I have value also. I'm no better. Now, our practices, maybe we don't make the best choices. He doesn't make a good choice regarding his intake of alcohol or his coping mechanism for those demons that he mentioned. He may not have, he doesn't. If you're falling down drunk to the point where your finger gets almost cut off, you gotta go to the emergency room. You gotta put your bone back together, set the bone with a pin, and then sew your skin back on over it. That sounds like not the best. The abusing of alcohol is not really working out. Now, but I have not coping mechanisms. I have some social behaviors. Not like coping mechanisms like substance use. Anyway, what would I tell? I wouldn't tell you anyway, but I have some behaviors that definitely aren't working in my benefit. They're actually costing me life. They're costing me additional gray hairs. They're costing me wrinkles. They're costing me financially. They're costing me they're costing me my family's time with my family. They're costing me my social desire to be a loyal relative, a loyal family member, and a supportive family member to my extended family. They're costing me. They're costing me my performance at work. These behaviors that I'm exhibiting, these unsustainable, unhealthy behaviors that I have. So I'm no better than him. I'm limiting myself, harming myself with certain fears and behavioral practices that I have, right? I am doing it to myself. Now, he's also doing it to himself, but like I said, in a different way. He's doing it to himself with alcohol and the comorbidities that associate with alcohol. It caused him to be a young guy that had a heart attack. The heart attack is actually probably more attributed to all of the emotional stuff that he's going on with. His coping mechanism. And alcohol is one coping mechanism, but the stress is also still there. And the alcohol doesn't kill the stress, it just deadens your feelings for a little bit, but the stress is still there, and the stress is overwhelming to the point where he got a heart attack almost. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, listen, man. Our mind is so powerful, and we have to protect it. We have to protect our mind, and it's crazy. Who told you were naked? I don't know if I'm bringing it home. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a priest. I'm not an orator. But I'm just copping out by saying that because I could have done a better job. I could have done a way better job than the job that I'm doing right now, explaining my point. Who told you were naked? Who's telling you that you're naked? I mean, it's really you telling you you're naked. Because if I'm telling you you're naked and you know that you're clothed, if I'm telling you, oh, God isn't with you. God don't know you. God is not covering you. He's not with you all the time. He's not seeing what you're doing. He's not supporting you. He's not wishing good for you. He's not holding you together and holding you up. Whatever you want, whatever fantasy you want to believe. That's the fantasy that I subscribe to, right? If I'm telling you that, why am I telling you that? I'm telling you that why do I want to make you feel inadequate? Why am I doing that? I'm trying to get a reaction out of you. And the reaction out of you is going to set you up to fall right in my trap. It's like I just heard a story, and this is political, I guess. I don't like to talk about politics, but this is a story a father told me in the park. There's a supremacist that was going around doing a social media live, calling people the N-word, just going around calling people the N-word, going around people calling the N-word, and he said in his life, I'm gonna kill an N-word. Maybe I'm not totally accurate. You can go check it out yourself. I don't want to see it. I haven't looked at it. This is what was relayed to me, right? So the guy is walking around, he's armed, and he's calling people the N-word with the intent that they will be offended and he will get the opportunity to use the First Amendment to say he has the freedom of speech to use whatever word he wants to use, right? And when that person gets offended tries to accost him or attack him or whatever, he will then use the Second Amendment to kill them, to delete them. And he went around looking for a victim, like the devil is a hungry lion looking for somebody to devour. He went around videotaping himself, calling people the N-word. I'm surprised this wasn't on the news. What? I don't know, is this real or not? Because only one person told me about this. But anyway, he went around calling people the N-word. Eventually, one guy got offended enough to engage with him, and the supremacist shot the man. Right? And fortunately, I don't think the man died. So, I mean, but who knows, what kind of complications he'll develop. But he was trying to get a reaction by offending someone. Now, he didn't particularly cause them to feel lack in the conventional sense of the word. In the conventional, you know what I mean? By saying, oh, you're not good enough. He didn't walk up to them saying, oh, you're not good enough. Hey, you, nobody loves you. You are of low social market value. He didn't do that. He went around and called them the N-word, which has a lot of other social and historical connotations, whatever to it. But all I wanted to indicate is that he wanted to trigger them, get a reaction out of them, offend them, in order to devour them, in order to set them up for a trap. Right? In order to set them up for a trap. So, it's really what it is, you know what I mean? So, when people are trying to make you feel inadequate, look, the marketing industry that sells consumer products, one of the strategies is to make you feel lacking and inadequate, which triggers you to consume whatever they're selling. You don't have one of these. Oh, look, all the attractive people have this. Oh, but you don't have one, so, you know what that means. So, yeah. I don't know if I brought it home. I hope I did. But you get what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that, when you get offended, it's a trap. My teacher in Jewish studies in college said something revolutionary. He said, you are not angry, you feel angry. You are not angry, you feel angry. And that really changed a lot. And we read a story about Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. And we did a lot of we had a lot of philosophical discussions. And it wasn't even really about theology too much. I didn't learn much about the religion or the culture at all. But I did learn a lot about philosophy, about self-control, about having a playbook for life, about belief, what fantasies you believe, what fantasy I believe, and how the fantasy you believe in and the social expectations of your community and your self-value and your self-regulation can determine whether you get to your destination or you self-sabotage yourself and your community, and on and on and on. This is cool. I had this security guard, right? He's going to work and he has a porcelain cup. He got his stuff in his cup. He got his cup. You know, walking on the street with his cup. Well, where does he put his cup when he's done? In his pocket? It's good to have your own ceramic cup. It's good to have your own ceramic cup and reduce the amount of wasted disposable cups. But hey, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm no better than the alcoholic. I'm no better than the drug user. The drug user and alcoholic is no less than me. We all have value. We're not naked. And let's bring it around to theology so that maybe I can get some points with God. God is always with us. We're covered. We're not naked. The devil want to tell us that we're naked. Nobody likes you. Nobody loves you. There's nobody with you. You're all by yourself. You're never by yourself. You're never by yourself. You're not naked. You're not going to trigger me and trick me up off these streets, as the young guys say. You're not going to trick me up off these streets by inducing lack in me. Induce is a funny word because in electronics, right? Induction is caused by a magnetic field. Why is this guy standing here at the ramp? Cars can't stop there. No car's gonna stop in the ramp. Why is he standing at the ramp? He's standing there with his book bag. Anyhow, so induction is caused by a magnetic field. Induction isn't caused by physical contact. Induction is the resistance to the flow of electrons. That's not resistance. I mean, it's resistance using magnetic fields, using a magnetic field, not using an actual resistive element, like a resistor. You don't use a resistor to cause induction. You use a magnetic field to oppose current flow somewhere else, or induce current flow somewhere else. You can induce current flow without physical contact. Induce. Anyhow, I don't know what I'm saying. Oh, here's another guy just standing up somewhere. I don't know. Anyhow, induce, induce. Yeah, don't let them induce. Don't let nobody induce. Don't let the marketing industry induce. Don't let your spouse induce. Don't let the kids induce. Don't let the strangers on the street induce. Don't let a supremacist induce in you. Hold on. Yeah, I had to do something for work, so that's it. I think I said all I needs to be said. I've said too much, and I've said nothing. Thanks for listening.